last time we spoke, or I did this video, I was speaking of Arizona and how I gave information to the mosque on 3rd Avenue in Broadway. And there were some important names, Ben Arredondo, and a couple of police officers. One by the name of Pica, the other one named Taylor Watkins, the other one's Crawford, who rear-ended me after a show that we did in Scottsdale called Livingston. Les Paul, who is actually a piano player, awesome piano player, got me on stage, and after we left there, we was rear-ended. I think the officer, or should I say the agent who wore badges and gun, he was drunk and he rear-ended. Or it could have been that I had filed some paperwork at the city congress that I gave in CD form to Ben Arredondo. I gave it to him at the council meeting in Tempe, Arizona, not that far from ASU. Anyway, as I told you that my destiny was kind of packed with a lot of stupid stuff. I left Chicago in '87 right after Harold Washington was killed. I thought that I would better myself if I started making moves in music, because I never played the guitar. Well, I did play the guitar, but I wasn't serious about it until I was Mill Avenue Street, and I seen everybody with a guitar in their hand, and that's how they was making money. So I picked up one, and I started, doing my thing, and it generated me a lot of money. After I made that move, I asked Patrick Muhammad, would he hold these paperwork for me until we were ready to go back to court? He said yes. Mustafa was there, that was the minister's son. And who else was there? Well, I won't go into that. But when I went back to go retrieve him, it was on a Sunday. Captain 29 was there. And he was pissed off more than I was. I met him at a place called Northern Mall. That was on 59th and Northern. It had been closed down because a couple of FBI agents were killed there. And Louis Durrish reopened it back up, and they gave him hell because he was deeper melanated, but he was nationalized. What they put him through was crazy. But back to the paperwork. When I went back to retrieve him, it was gone, so I had to leave Arizona. One of the Klan members who, like I told you before, I worked in some of their beauty salons and played in their venues. The lounges were beautiful. Crawford, the one who I filed on, gave it to a company not too far on Scottsdale Road. 2 men decided to take the case, but the owner, who was legit, I don't think he knew anything what these 2 men were doing. They bamboozled me. I came back to Mill Avenue where my apartment was, and I started to move to another venue, and I couldn't move back in Tempe because of the paperwork that I had filed. So I had to go to Mason. Mason, wow, that was like taboo for me. All the traps had been set, pretty much like it was in the last apartment, although I had moved. I'm in a new apartment right now. And pretty much, I don't know for sure, but the traps are always set. Because the Klan said we have membership all over the world, chapters all over the world. It won't be hard to find you. I can't wait till I get to Chicago, because I know I got some strong people back there. Got back to Chicago, come to find out that FOI, part of FOI, not all the FOI is corrupt, don't get me wrong, but there was a group of people that met me on the first street that I laid my feet on, which was in Chatham. I had filed paperwork from there to Chicago, and then the police here in Chicago got involved. So I filed on a guy by the name of Mark Schmidt, badge number 19103, I forgot the 3. He was in Uptown, put drugs on me. Show you how powerful the Klan members are. It was dropped in court. But it didn't stop there. There was a man by the name of Demetrius Cook. I moved out of Uptown to Evanston because, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. But there was three police. One was named Sniper. He was a sergeant. Walter Gashew, that was his name. Walter Gashew told me to go back to where I was and he would send some people over there. But what was sent was the gang members, 5-star and 6-star, in Rogers Park. To show you how strong that they have our so-called leaders and our so-called members of different organizations, religious organizations, I mean, powerful. Demetrius Cook, now he was a deputy then, now he's a sheriff. And I went into his office on Elm Street in Evanston. I asked him if he could help because the Klan members had threatened me in Arizona and they told me that they would follow me here. He asked me did I know who they were and I said, no I didn't, but I did know one of his name. But if I told him the name, I don't think I would be here speaking the second time to you. When I left Chicago, there was a commercial saying, say no to drugs. When I get back in Chicago, there's banners all over that said, if you come in and try this drug, we'll pay you. Come on now, give me a break. We got them all over Chicago now. Maintenance men who look like I do are helping the Klan members get rid of us. And that's just the short. The police are shooting us down one by one. And these people who look as I do are helping Klan members get rid of us. Now, I'm going to explain something to you. Jean-Baptiste DeSable named Chicago, Chicago. But how many people know what that means? Noble Ali brought the secret society of higher learning to Chicago. What's his name? Master Farad. Master Farad was a part of that association. But if you ask me, was he like Jesse Jackson was to Martin Luther King, I have to think about that, but I would have to say yes. Master Farad was part of the setup game, just like Jesse Jackson was. I used to do Jesse Jackson's shampoos, his wife. Used to come to 75th in Crandon at a place called Billy Float's Salon. Jesse Jackson would bring him in. Years later, I brought the situation to him. He told me to come to Operation Push. I went there for almost about a year. Sign your name, sign your name. Little did I know, each time you sign your name, you get funds from your trust fund that is secretly imposed with signatures. It made me so differently on the look of our people. Jean-Baptiste DeSable named Chicago, because he knew the law, he knew civics. Chicago means chattel cargo. That's what it means. That's why we popping off like 90 going north. He was going through the same stuff that I was going through. Chicago means chattel property. So people can insure you secretly and pop you off and make a lot of money. Although you have a base insurance policy when you're born. It's called a birth certificate. A lot of people are running around in this area not knowing civics. That was the pride from us. Not knowing the law. That was the pride for us. Educations of projections of programming that really doesn't do any good except be a better slave, now called servitude, which is the same thing. A better servitude, still being a slave. Later on down the line, I would see in different spots. First spot I seen him actually in real life was, well, not real life, I've seen him more than once. Once in Elm Street. Then I seen him at self-storage on 87th, right next door to WVON. There was a Mason that stored right down about 2 doors away from me. He would follow me around to show you again how much power the Klan members have. They said, we control all the religious leaders and it won't be hard to find you. Now, I've been in so many apartments, and each one of them, the process it begins over and over and over again. It doesn't bother me because I'm still going to speak the truth. And when I'm speaking, you can research. I filed a complaint in Supreme Court, in federal court. Case number 12-07733. 13 days later, back in Chatham, 83rd and St. Lawrence, borderline, 83rd, 84, there were 3 people that walked towards me, but they got out of the car when I was walking towards 87th Street to my domicile, or to my residence, or to the place I was resting my head. They walked around the block and they came back up and they pulled out a gun, put it to my head, and told me to give me all the stuff. At that time, this book was not in publication. It wasn't in publications. It's like magazine style, 203 pages. That has a lot of interesting stuff in here. The case numbers in here as well. Anyway, I seen Demetrius Cook at that place talking to, I think her name was Brenda Wilkins. She was the manager, and she would post up notices saying you couldn't come into the storage for that day. Now, if you're paying your money to get into your storage, why couldn't I come in? That's just how powerful the Klan is. They can do that. In Rogers Park, there was a Kerry Johnson. Nope, it was Kerry something. Kerry something. He was from Florida, but based in Arizona. He had property in Arizona. And he bought the place. It became Simply Storage. And then after my court proceedings, it went back down to self-storage, I think. Let me see. It went back to, while I'm doing this, life storage. It went back to life storage after the case. I believe that one of the members from Arizona flew in all the way just for that case and pretended to be a judge. It's just how games are played. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that we've been bamboozled. And a lot of our leaders that we look up to are put in place to dummy down the masses of people. Now, the place that I did the last filming at, it's not this one. When I got ready to move out, there were gang members in the alley. I think one of them actually knows. His name is Rob. He drives a black Cadillac. License plate number CT 15363. And his wife, or consul, or wife, is the same boy with 6'4". He would watch me the last 2 days. He parked his car in the back of my window. I had 13 windows. I left them all open because the stuff that they had going through the vents got me sick on June 26, 2019. I was hospitalized for 3 days. There was a young man that came into Mercy Hospital that was with me or had been there. My wristband was same name but a different birth date. Same with this guy that they pulled the plug on and he died. So I'm assuming that I was supposed to be the same way because the firemen refused to take me to my hospital. They took me to Mercy Hospital. Again, I used to be a patient on Mercy Hospital, but when I found out how they chattel cargo, I backed up and I took another way out. Same thing with 55th and Wentworth. It was crazy. It was like a pig yard, actually. And these people were trusting these doctors, and these doctors were actually not good for them, let's put it that way. So on that note, I want to leave you with sometimes you're here just to be a servant to the people so they can live off of yours and their children and their children and their children and their children can live off your estate. We need to wake up and we need to stop killing one another for the modern day slave masters. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people who you all call white, which they're not. They like us. They actually like us, and not just because of the benefits, but they truly like us. But who's gonna be on your side when you are killing your own people for a nickel bag? A nickel bag, or favors, or resources. Now, when you go to war, and you have a thing called special ops. Now, special ops goes from the small shelf to the top shelf. They use them in gangs, 5-star and 6-stars. They use them in religious societies. They use them in political sites. This whole thing is just because you go to war and you see active duty, if you're chosen, like a lot of these non-profit organizations have done, you'll be chosen to do the same thing as you did when you was in active duty. But the only thing is, you got to get out of jail free card. We have to stop killing one another. That means 5-star, 6-star, all over the world, Crips, Bloods, Blackstone Rangers, Disciples, all of them. They have to stop killing one another, because who's going to join you when they know that all they got to do is give you a stick of weed or 5 cents of coke or heroin? Like I said, when I left here, it was saying say no to drugs. Drugs gonna be here all the time. Only the rich at one time had it, and that was back in the early 60s. The true drugs, the wealthy people had it, and it was a party favorite. I mean, the spice of life is all cool, but in moderation. But when it got to the 70s, it got out of hand. And they seen how we could destroy genuine of people just by loosening up the grounds, making it accessible for them to get. And a lot of stuff be laced. They can give you a hot shot and you won't even know. There are 3 basic ways to kill a person. One is with a needle, the other one's with a bullet, and the other one's with a knife. And you can times that many ways. And it's an instrument for instantaneous death, and you won't even know it. Back when I was doing my thing, it was called inquest. I don't think they do inquests anymore. They could show you the whole body. You can go right over there and pull the sheet up. Nowadays, you can't do that. They've been cut the sides, cut the back, cut the knees, take marrow out of the bone, put cardboard in it. You don't believe me? Ask Leaks, ask Rainers, ask Taylor. The busiest ones in the world, I'm not in the world, in the metro center of Chicago, which is chattel cargo. Now you understand what chattel cargo means. Look it up if you don't. Chattel cargo, Chicago. That's the secret that has been drawn out from Chicago. And like I say, Jean-Baptiste de Sable named Chicago because he was going through the same shit that I'm going through. Chattel cargo, look it up. Then you'll understand a little deeper what I'm saying. Now, this place I got right now, but it's nice, it's beautiful, it's tight. But as they said, we got chapters all over the world and it won't be hard to find you. I am going to, this is going to be my last video, because sometimes when you do a video of this magnitude, it's not cool. I put it on Facebook and Facebook took it off within maybe a day. And it was why? It's because of the names that I named. And those names that I gave documents of this book, Ronald Williams L., of this book, to Jan Schakowsky in Evanston and a couple other entities in Evanston and in Uptown. And they immediately called them Roman soldiers on me. That's why the drugs was put on me in Uptown. I forgot what I was going to mention and was most important. But life goes on. There was a woman that was, I'm assuming that Klan had come, and they were black women, or so-called black. But you know we're not black, we're not African, we're not Negroes. We are Moors. We are the indigenous people of the land. But we got dummied down so bad that we don't know who we are. But these two women came out of, it was based in New York. They came from Texas. Her name was Karen Meacham Henderson. The daughter told me that she needed a place to stay. I was in Northwestern. I was listening to Yaffa Bay and another lady called Wake the Hell Up. And they came in. Now this is what they do. They'll send people that you ain't seen in a long time, and they'll send them right into your presence because they know. The top sheriff in any district knows every lineage that belongs to you. But they're not going to tell you that because they don't want you to link yourself to your lineage. The name of the game is Willie Lowe, Jim Crow. Divide, separate, and conquer. That's the name of the game. And that's why you don't get that information about your fig tree, which George Washington cut down the cherry tree, but that was your Moroccan flag tree. That's what he cut down. That is your heritage. That's who you are. So in grammar school, we was taught completely different. I'm gonna leave off with just a song, and I'm hoping I'm saying to Karen Meacham Henderson, whoever sent you, and I think I know who sent you, because like I say, he's the sheriff of police, and the instruments that you left in my apartment that I asked you to come get, still waiting for you. Why would you steal my ID? Why would you steal my social security card? And why would you steal this flash drive to this book? Evidently, somebody's in this book that don't want people to know. And they're in this book. But I didn't know these people when I came to Chicago. They was brand new. I was gone for a long time. 87, I didn't come back from 2005. Come on, give me a break. People know when they do wrong, and they don't want people to know. As I said, a lot of people are deceived because of lack of knowledge that is not displayed in your venues called the churches, institutions of higher learning, unless you go on to a blog show that is definitely like Taj Tariq Bey or Yaffa Bey or Lake Fohara, or what's the other one? Sabir Bey. Those three, and Abdul
Talib El-Mosley Bey.
Abdi Talib El-Mosley Bey. These guys are scholars. I got taken off Ben Youssef El, and I forget his name, but anyway, they're gone now. And the young lady, Caressa, I forget her name, but I just did a post on her. Very powerful woman. And she died maybe 4 years ago, and they had a wake over there at 30-something in King Drive. Her mind was totally up there. Very wise woman. But they'll all be back. I mean, all the people that has transcended, trying to reach out to us, and we have no clue of what they were saying until shit hits us in the head. Wake up, stop killing yourself. Oh, this is a song that I wrote back in in Arizona. And this is what I sung it in SU. Real crowd walked up to me after the song and said, hey, look, you do that song again, something gonna happen. But this is go. Boys on 11 lights. Some politicians want to erase, excluding some people in the house. Sometimes that's the way the system plays. FBI, CIA, they know the story sometimes go, just afraid to let us know. Sometimes that's the way the system plays. Dropping bombs on people, disclaiming smiling faces. Oh my it goes to new mushroom cloud. It's nobody's fault but our own. But if you believe in Most High, maybe we have a chance. Don't you know glory rise straight to the sky? Some politicians want to erase it. Some politicians want to erase